All right, so welcome to another football fundamentals video. Today, we're going to take a look at, as you can see on the screen, power versus zone. The blocking schemes that you'll see teams run, and the New Orleans is one of those teams that just they run a various. They're all over the place, man. They don't just run inside zone, outside zone, split zone, or man and tray counters and trap blocks and all this. They run everything, and that's because they have the running backs to do it. They've got Alvin Kamara, they've got Mark Ingram, two guys who are versatile enough to do either. And one of the other are better at some things than the other guy are, but it's because they have that versatility in the offensive line to do it. They're a good team to study if you're trying to learn more about blocking schemes. So here's what we're going to try to do today. You heard me rattle off the different types of zones and some manpower schemes, things like that. We're not trying to get into all that. I'm not trying to make it to where you can pinpoint inside zone runs versus split zone or anything like that from the get-go. What I want to be able to show you guys is just how to spot the difference between zone and the difference between man and the basic concept of what those two are. So as man blocking would apply or power blocking, it's just as it sounds. So let's say you're the center and you've got a zero technique or a one technique. And for those who don't remember, there's a D-line video where I went over these techniques. A zero technique, he's head up on the center. So I'm looking eye to eye to you. Or one technique is shaded right around on my shoulder. So in blocking like man power, in that situation, I probably have that guy. That's my guy. I'm assigned to him. I've got to get him out the way. So whether left, right, forward, back, whatever I'm supposed to be doing, I've got a man. Well, in zone blocking, I have a gap. So in zone blocking, I'm not necessarily worried about if I'm the center taking on this one technique right here. Maybe my job instead is to block the A gap to the right, which means I've got to go up and get the linebacker just because he's there. Or maybe if we'll get some film there and I'll kind of draw it out so you can see it. Or maybe, same scenario, I've got to block the right gap, but instead that one technique I just talked about is right there in it. So now instead of going to the linebacker, I've got to block the guy in the gap. So there's the basic difference. What I want to do, and we do this every time. You guys know I like reading. I think it is instrumental in learning, to be able to see some of this on paper as well as video film and all this other stuff. Just any way you can to study the game. And as always, or at least one of the majorities of the places we check out is inside the pylon. And I wanted to give you an idea of how they define zone blocking because I think that's one of the ones and maybe not everybody's familiar with it. It really came into prominence with a lot of the West Coast stuff. And for me, one of my favorites or earliest that I started studying with Alex Gibbs with the Shanahan West Coast offense of the Denver Broncos in the 90s. And, when you think about that, that is going back 20 years. But in the totality of football, 20 years really isn't that long. So you can call it the baby or the younger version of some of the blocking concepts that we teach and do now, but still established, very well known. It's maybe not as well known to the casual fan, and a lot of people are just used to big man block big man, and we're not always doing that anymore. So zone blocking, as you can read here, is a running scheme in which the offensive lineman blocks gaps rather than a power blocking scheme where each lineman is responsible for a specific defender. The offensive line typically flows to one side of the field in unison, with blocking responsibilities developing as the players move in concert. A staple of this design is the cut block along the backside of the play to prevent defenders from pursuing the football. We're not going to talk about that today. We'll do that on another video. And to create potential bend or cutback lanes. Good stuff. Let's talk about some tape real quick. Let me go ahead and show you a play. So the first play we're going to look at is against the Los Angeles Rams for the New Orleans Saints. And this is Alvin Kamara's big 74-yard TD run. Now remember I talked about gaps, and hopefully you guys remember the video. So we got the A gap here, B gap here, C gap here, and you got techniques. So we got Aaron Donald on the big here in the 3. We got our 1. We got our outside guys, yada, yada. We're not trying to go over that video again. I want to run it one time, and then we'll slow it down and talk about it a little bit. So this is a zone play. And I want you to see what all happens. See all that? I know it's moving real fast, but notice how everybody, first step, moving in unison. See how the entire offensive line moving in the same direction in unison. So we don't have what is an ace block or a deuce block. There's no combo blocks here. There's no, one guy going to one spot, one to one player, etc. This is a zone block. We're going to an area. Run it one more time. Yada, yada, yada. Come on. Okay. And then the scenario I just pointed out. So you're Max Unger right here, center of the field. Well, here's that guy I just talking about. So since we're moving right, we're blocking the gap to our right, which means he's got a really tough job here. Unger's got to reach around and get this block. See, this is a big shift, and this is a really good play by Unger to do this. Saints are helped out because they've got a favorable count in this area. They're running zone right, and there's only 3 defenders in the box of the area that they're running towards. But anyway, let's move it forward a little bit slow. Yeah, Drew, I know you're making calls. Thank you. Now we move. Okay, so now we're moving. So you see Unger there take the gap. He works play side with his shoulder and head, takes control of the gap. And now look at other guys. So Unger's Pete, he's got nobody there. So his job, move up. Warford, I've got nobody there. My job, move up. Ryan Ramczyk, well, I'm going to kick the guy to the gap to my right, and we're going to create us a little running lane. Now, the premise of zone running is to create, as the article pointed out, let me run it back real quick just so you can see a static diagram right here. So you see that Purdue 4-4 defense is talking about. But what you're doing is trying to open up cut lanes, and specifically in outside zone. And like I said, we're not getting too deep into that. You're creating the bend, the bang, and the bounce. So you can create 3 different running lanes, one straight ahead, one bounce outside, one going back. And this takes a lot of vision for a ball carrier to be able to execute, because there's plenty of power schemes where it's designed to open up the A gap or it's designed to open up the B gap, and there's not necessarily as many cutback lanes. For example, the trap block we talked about where the Saints ran against the Buffalo Bills, they also ran against the Minnesota Vikings in the playoffs. That trap block is designed to go right there. And if a cutback lane happens, it happens, but it's not designed. Whereas zone is supposed to be opening up more avenues because you're putting things in motion. You're making the defense move and the offense move. So that movement is supposed to create some running lanes for you to get through. And that's what you get right here with Alvin Kamara. Let's go back to tape real quick. So that's what you're getting here. So as Kamara develops, you not only have this lane, which we're going to follow. If this was full, so let's just say Warford's not able to get to his block or whatever, he's got this lane. Or let's say Ryan Ramczyk has really pushed his guy up the field. And these two, the first 2 we just marked are blanked. Well, he's also got this one outside. So the movement is designed to keep some running lanes developing, which allows a back with good vision like Kamara and Ingram have to really dominate. And this is just great vision. You see Anders Pete. He's running zone here. He's got no one to block. So kudos to him for just getting out there and making a play. And then it's Alvin Kamara being a better athlete than basically everybody else on the field. Now let's look at the flip side of this. Now let's look at some power blocking. And this is going to be Mark Ingram on a big run against the Jets. So we're going to watch it full speed first, and then we'll talk about it. So we create a little bit of a shift there, and that's just good power blocking and a great run by Ingram, the burst, the speed to get into the end zone, and then the nice little swim move at the end. So what makes this power compared to the other that we just saw zone? Well, remember, we talked about zone blocking. We're blocking a gap. Now we're focused on blocking specific people. So I'm going to go real slow. Okay, look what Unger just did here. See, Unger, we're taking on this guy. Head up. That's my guy. Right here, you have a deuce block. A deuce block is a combo block between the guard and the tackle. That's all it is. An ace block is the center and the guard. And they're using a same shoulder, same foot technique. So they want to hit their guy. So one guy's going to hit him with the right shoulder, one's hit the left shoulder, they want to hit at the same time, together as a force on this combo block. Let me get rid of this, and we'll move it forward a little bit more. All right, and then it's just a great job here by Warford. So once he's established this block on this combo, bam, move up. Make sure we clear out that linebacker. Great job by the fullback. Really, really good job by Brandon Coleman here getting to the 3rd level, because that's a safety. And even though the safety's coming down, in space, that's a really good block, which leaves one guy for Mark Ingram to beat, and it's the corner. And generally, running backs are going to win this battle. But you see how this is all one-on-one. This is manpower. We've got a signed man. Fullback knows he's got to come clear out this linebacker in this gap. We've got this combo block taking on this man. We've got Unger taking on this man. And backside, we're letting them get upfield because we don't want them to be backside. So we don't want these guys to see and recognize. So we're going to sell and let them have it. You want to rush upfield? Bring it on, baby. You're going to be out the play. And that's just an example of the differences. And it's a really basic example. Like I said, we're not going too crazy into this. But I had a couple people ask. And Mark Ingram, He had a lot of real good plays running power, inside zone, trap plays. Kamara, he seemed to be a little bit more prevalent to the outside zone type of plays, and you saw that a lot in like the Buffalo game. And each has their own strength, and both can do each other's job, but they're maybe not as good as the other. So Kamara's not as good running power or inside zone like we saw Ingram do. Doesn't mean he's bad, but just that was Ingram's thing. And Ingram's not, he doesn't have that explosive playmaking ability like Kamara has to really capture that edge. He can do it, and you see him do it on plays, but that's not really his forte. But anyway, I just want to kind of give it out, at least give out some a little bit more knowledge. Don't want to leave these football fundamental videos, even though the season is approaching. They're probably going to come a little bit less. These are more of an off-season thing, but I want to continue all you guys enjoying and growing in knowledge. If you really like the video, please like, share, subscribe. Give it out to all your friends on Twitter, Facebook, Reddit, social media, your favorite forum, wherever, so people can learn more about the game and learn to enjoy it more and then be the smartest guy at the water cooler. And if you really enjoy it, hey, think about donating to our Patreon page. A little bit every month really helps these things come out more often. Appreciate you. Who dat? God bless, and we'll catch you on the next one. Peace out.